So I went ahead and did a weekly video for everyone this week because of the critical nature of this week. And I would say, if you find this to be a hashtag nice video and helpful, go ahead and like and subscribe maybe to my YouTube or check out the free Substack, but share with your friends. I think you'll find this informative. So first off, I'm starting off with the QQQ and zoomed way out here. And I know that you all had this trend line on your charts when you were super bearish, and this was just a back test and we were going to zero after that. But it actually has made a meaningful back test. So this is not a small breakout, right? So we do need to be careful fading this this move higher. If we get back below here, we know things would start to look pretty gross. We have this little trap below, but overall very, very constructive on the Qs. So let's go ahead and zoom in. So first I want to point out that, we had this range of consolidation back here that the Qs continue to struggle in. Let's call this range 473.69 to 486.69. And you can see we consolidated here. We had this break higher, effectively an island gap down, and consolidation before this was ultimately back tested and lost a couple of times. We came back in here again in August. We struggled near the top of the range and failed back again. Now we've since reclaimed, and here we are back at the top at Thursday's high. And so Qs are in, a much different situation than SPY, right? SPY has made a new all-time high. Qs have not, and have not really made it that close. So I know a number of traders are looking for, maybe the potential for a lower high relative to here, this, 48869 spot. But to me, almost like, as opposed to failing here, sweeping this high into this range in here, where we have this gap, 48869 to 49069, could be potentially problematic if we fail back below this 486.69 spot. But for now, into this week, certainly the most bullish scenario is, just to break above and see no problems here, just continue directly higher. I do see it as somewhat problematic if we get back into this sort of pre-FOMC range that we traded, sort of a minor box here, which kind of did a, F around and find out with the bottom of this range of the 473.69. So we sort of traded on both sides. And so to me, if we fail back into this range, and let's call it 469.69 to 476.69, it becomes problematic because it's very likely that we fill this gap here and come down to the bottom of this range. And if we lose that, that's when things start to look bad. So that's kind of what you're on the watch for if we trade higher, fail here, back into this box range and down, or certainly if we trade lower and we get trapped in here, rotate down to the bottom and lose this spot, right? So if we come down here, we hold 476.69, I think that's fine. We can retest 486.69. If we come down here, 469.69, then it's not a horrible spot to find bids and rotate back up to 476.69 and try to re-break this out. And we'll talk a little bit more about nuance when I get to the SPY. So SPY, similar to QQQ, had this range of consolidation that it sort of struggled with twice. We had the prior July all-time high at 565.16, but really it consolidated in this range. We'll call it 554.69 to 563.69, roughly. We came right back into this same range again here, failed back out, reclaimed it recently. And then again, you've got an FOMC situation. And I'm going to add like a little bit of context here. So a couple of things. So Tuesday, this is before FOMC, we tried to drive through all-time highs. So we broke the top, we gapped out of this range. So it looks constructive. We drive above, we make a new all-time high. Buyers are not interested. Like we could forgive that. FOMC is the next day. It does seem a little bit silly to just drive off to new all-time highs ahead of FOMC. We then consolidate similar to the Qs in a 560.69 to 563.69 range leading up into the FOMC decision. So same kind of thing happens, right? We drive up higher. Buyers are not interested. FOMC high is, of course, at 568.69 and fail back below. So, where is the conviction from buyers? We got the 50-point rate cut that we wanted, and we're failing. So then we get on Wednesday evening, this massive overnight move. So, cash hour traders, where most of the money trades, had no interest in breaking us out, but like Asia and Europe did. And we're just going to kind of roll with that, I guess. It seems, a little bit suspicious to me. And then you get into Thursday, right? We get this true gap up. We open above the FOMC high. We effectively hold a back test. We ran it by just a few handles. And then you would think trend day is on, right? And sure, this was an extended move. But again, if there was conviction after your 50 basis point cut, we should be driving. This should be trend day up. And instead, we come up here just a little bit higher and fail, and then Thursday fails and we gap open back below the key 568.69 spot and struggle with 568.69 from below all day until we finally got, I guess this was on the, Intel acquisition by Qualcomm news. We get this attempted, this is your late day spike. This is the last 30 minutes of the day. This is what I posted on X. We get this attempted break. We drive through 568.69 and fail back below. So again, to me, if you're bullish, you wanted to see, this move sustain. You wanted to see, okay, fine, here, reclaim and go. That would have been fine. And now we're in like this spot headed into the week where, obviously we don't know what's going to happen. But to me, clearly what you want to see is a crack back above 568.69. This is absolutely your pivot for Monday. No questions asked. So if we're finding traction above here, this looks good. We're filling the gap and we're probably making new highs. As simple as that to me. If we remain trapped below 568.69 into Monday and in Monday morning, this is through the overnight session and Monday morning, then it's very likely that we're coming back and we're testing the prior all-time high. And that was, almost exactly Friday's low. If we lose Friday's low, it becomes problematic. We come down to the back test, the 563.69 at the top of that box. And to me, you're here. I mean, why not come down and fill this gap and tag the bottom of this range at 560.69. So, again, similar to the Qs, then you'd be looking like maybe you get a quick sweep of this low back up here. You would effectively need to reclaim that prior all-time high and go. And that would be a fine look. And I can actually see this because, again, like we had this huge overnight move and, Asia and Europe got to buy it, relatively lowish volume. I mean, it wasn't for that session, but, compared to cash hours. So maybe cash participants are like, well, I'm not buying this. They broke it out. They can buy it. I'll just go ahead and wait for a pullback. And, maybe something like that could look constructive. And really down to 554.69 wouldn't be the worst look in the world. Below there, it looks horrifying. But, there's a lot of spots that we can make a higher low. It's just, from a nuanced perspective. And I put a decent amount of that into my trading decisions and my analysis, and at least, the feel that I have for trading. This feels somewhat weakish. And so I would like to see conviction. You've got a fresh set of weekly buyers. Maybe this week, this whole move was a bit extended, and maybe they sort of rested up over the weekend, and they are ready to break this out and crack this to new highs. So definitely your most bullish scenario is direct and immediate, leaving no questions asked above 568.69 to start the week. Other than that, trap below here, I think we're putting Friday's low at risk and, potentially risking this gap fill and down to 560.69. And we could be, sort of tactically short for that move. But again, I don't think there's anything, really horribly bearish until we start finding ourselves trapped back below here again. And then we get it back in, to this range. So that's all for this week. Hope you guys enjoyed that. Go ahead and like and subscribe if you did, and maybe I'll consider doing it a little bit more often. And if you want the daily plans, you can go ahead and sign up for the newsletter. At least has a pretty good free section most days that you can glean a lot from. So hope you have a good weekend.